From World of Concrete 2018, everybody, I'd like you to meet two gentlemen who represent Sage. They're big into software and BIM management and other things of that nature. Very big in the construction field. With me is Dennis Skaiskel and Walt Davis. How are you guys? Nice
Great,
to see
Roger.
you.
Good to see you again.
Good seeing you, Roger.
Been a whole year, hasn't it?
It has been a year.
Been a
It's
year.
flown by. And many things are happening.
Well, who wants to start here? Let's start with BIM. Talk about BIM and what's happening in that field. I know last year when we talked, it was new to the field, and here we are a year later. Let's find out where we're at.
I think when we talked last year, Roger, we were just entering into sort of our first parlays, if you will, in the BIM world, with integrating Sage estimating software with some of the leading players in the BIM world, people like Autodesk. And since then, we've had folks like Assemble join in, and so we have these really thought-leading interfaces to these companies that are allowing us to pass information from design and concept into estimating without any data entry occurring, no re-entry of data. It's true integration. And we call it round-trip integration as well, because now that I have information from into the Sage estimating system, I can quickly click on something and see where it came from in the BIM world. And so I have complete reciprocity between the two systems, and it's been a very exciting set of circumstances.
How do you see it being used during the project? Like if they go into the model and do some additional work for a change or a change order.
Yeah.
How does that
change order? Nobody's ever heard of that.
Yeah, no one's ever heard of those. Well, I think that estimating used to be a real event-driven type activity. So you'd have a design. The estimator would work on the design, do a takeoff, and he would actually bid the thing. And he'd have maybe one or two iterations.
So this software carries it through.
And so what happens now with BIM and with the constant iterations of projects, so we have changes that occur more often throughout the phases of a project these days, and that's all because of the software. I mean, with BIM software, I can make those changes and get them back out to the owners and back out to the estimators very quickly. Well, as an estimator, I better have a way to incorporate those changes very quickly. I can't re-enter it all. I have to have some way to do that, and plus I also want to see where did those changes occur and how did that impact the total project? And that's what our BIM integration does. It allows us to see that full circle and see where the changes came from and see what the impact of the changes is.
It's more than just a design tool.
Exactly.
More than just a design tool.
Now speaking of you've had your head in the clouds.
We have had our heads in the cloud. Last year we talked about some of the events at this show, and the big talk in the operation area is extending tools to the field. And it shows up in time entry. I talked to 3 or 4 new remote time entry solutions. So it continues to happen there. And we have released, Sage has released some applications called mobile projects. So we've started to extend some of our solutions out to the field as well, and those are hitting the market now. But a big trend that I'm seeing is the acceptance of the cloud by the accounting departments.
Really?
Yeah, and it's actually
people are willing to put all that important data out in the cloud.
They're willing to put the data in the cloud, and I hear it over and over and over again. We want to get out of the server business. We want to take and get rid of our servers. We don't want to have to manage them. So they're taking their current solutions and they're just basically making those available in the cloud.
In the cloud.
And there's technologies and packages and all sorts of solutions to do that. And that's a transition to someday where it's probably all going to go. And it's exciting to see happen because it allows them access to the software wherever they are. It truly does, including the accounting department, the software. So if you have someone that needs to work at home, they just dial into their browser and they're working at home.
I know for a fact too, you guys have been big, Sage has been big with surveys and done a number of things now with AGC in the last couple of years. And that information is all very interesting to people like me who want to see where the business is going.
And some of the stats that we've seen, and maybe that could be a future article, some of the stats that we've seen coming out of those surveys this year support that movement. Because we focus on both the operational side, because we know they're in the field. The cloud has to be in the play. But if you look at accounting, it really doesn't. But it is happening, and the surveys are for sure supporting that. And it's happening with outsourced managed services hosting all sorts of methods it's happening with?
Well, both of you, I'm sure, have so many things on your plate. There's a lot of things to pick from.
There are, and it's exciting. It's exciting. We're seeing impact all the way. Today there's a huge umbrella in projects of how projects are delivered. And in the old days, it was all about design, bid, build, right? And you had to have the lowest bid. And today we found that doesn't always work, picking the low bidder. So we see a lot more in terms of project delivery, things moving toward design build or construction management at risk, or even some new fancy terms like integrated project delivery, where they just change it when it's all done. So a lot of change in that world as well.
And the interesting thing is, if a word that we always heard about was collaboration.
Oh, yeah,
and what the heck does collaboration mean?
Synergy.
And as you think about some of those methods, a lot of that is collaboration, where the different parties are collaborating throughout the whole contract. That's another trend we're seeing in the accounting world. We're seeing collaboration in accounting. And you might say, well,
how do you do that?
How do you do that?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
right.
And it's things like accounting takes just some areas of responsibility on things like pre-qual, or things like lien waivers and compliance, and all those types of things. There's solutions being put in place where party A needs to collaborate party B on whatever document, and they're doing it in a shared environment.
Right.
Another advantage and extension of the use of the cloud.
Absolutely. Well, I know you guys got a busy schedule. I sure want to thank you for taking the time to stop by and talk with us and say hello once again. And hopefully next year we'll do the same.
That sounds
Appreciate
great,
it,
Roger. Great to
Walt
see you again.
Davis,
Roger,
Dennis
thank you.
Skagel, both with Sage
Thank you.
from World of Concrete 2018.